Finally, new shirt. What's good guys, welcome to TNQVD, and this is the second part that I'm doing of my computer build series. And if you haven't watched part 1, there'll be a link right there. And without any further ado, let's get into it. This is the build process of my first PC. Amazingly enough, we would only need a screwdriver to build all of this into a fully functioning computer. But let us start by preparing the motherboard. Once you've opened the box, you would see the motherboard itself, but underneath there are more stuff. You'd get a driver installation CD, a registration paper, a quick start guide, the rear I/O shield, your SATA cables, and most importantly, a user manual. The motherboard is one of the most delicate components in your entire build. I would recommend using an anti-static wristband, but that's not really necessary if you live in a country like India due to the weather conditions and most houses not being carpeted. Push the CPU retention lever down and lift the cover up. Now let us crack open the CPU. Not literally, but let's crack open the box. This is the Intel Core i5-6500. When you open the box, you will find two components, the CPU and the heatsink, which will sit on top of the CPU and keep that guy cool. Gently place the CPU by aligning with the notches of the chip with that of the socket. Once you've done that, lower the retention arm and the black cover should pop right out. Set that aside for now and keep it in your box if you need to return your motherboard in the future. To install the heatsink, place the heatsink on top of the CPU and press on either corners until you hear them click. Don't forget to connect your CPU fan to the CPU fan header on the motherboard, which should be right next to the CPU. To install the RAM onto the motherboard, open up the two latches on the either side of the RAM slot which you want to use and gently seat the memory card into place. Now you will feel two clicks on either side after the memory has been seated, and that's when you know you have done it correctly. Next step is to prepare the case. Well, there isn't much to prepare exactly. Take out the box of the screws that came along with your case and take out the screws that are used to fix the motherboard. You would find them in your case manual. The standoffs in the Corsair Carbide Spec M2 are pre-installed, but if it's not installed in your case, you'd have to install it yourself. Put the rear I/O shield and press on all four corners. The I/O shield may be a bit tricky to put in, but you should be able to hear 4 clicks after it clicks on either corners. Lower the motherboard onto the standoffs, making sure that the ports stick clearly out from the back I/O shield, and you can see the standoffs from the holes that are provided on the motherboard. Now once you have placed it properly, use the screws to screw the motherboard into place. Now it's a good time to install the power supply unit. Take your power supply unit and place it with the fan facing downwards. Secure the power supply with the screws that came with the power supply unit. Route the cables to the cable management cutout behind the back. We would be needing them afterwards. Now route the 20+4 pin motherboard connector towards the power plug of the motherboard and the EPS connector towards the CPU. Now connect them. Now let's configure the hard drive. Use the toolless tools to install the hard drive into the mechanical bay at the bottom. You should hear a click once it's completely in. Connect the SATA cables to the hard drive and the SATA power. Now the SATA cables from the hard drive would directly connect to the motherboard. Now the last thing we have left to tackle are the front panel connectors. They can be a bit tricky to work with, but if you refer to your motherboard manual, they should be easy to fix in. You should now connect the HD audio as well as your USB 2 and USB 3 headers from the front of the case. Connecting the case fans to the motherboard now will officially end the wiring process. Now clean up your cables. Try to use cable ties which came with your motherboard or your power supply unit. I have to tie my PCI cables behind because I'm not using a graphics card right now. But then now the build is officially complete. Plug into the power supply and press the power button and all the fans should kick right in. You'd preferably like to install Windows right now. Now if you have an installation CD, you can put that into your drive, but since I don't have a drive for mine, I would do it by the USB bootable device way. Let's show you how to do that right now. Go to the specific website at Microsoft.com and download the media creation tool. Once you're finished downloading, open the app and follow the instructions. Basically, you have to keep pressing OK, but read the agreement properly and you'll have a bootable Windows 10 USB device. The build process was actually surprisingly easy, except for a few things like the front panel connectors that did not work in the first place. But everything else was flawless and it was really a good experience. That's been it. Thank you so much for watching. If you guys did like this video, be sure to give this video a thumbs up down below, and again part 1 is linked down below. And if you have again any suggestions for the third part benchmarks, please leave them in the comments down below. I'll be using them for my third part. And so that's been it. Thank you so much for watching, and do not forget to subscribe if you want to see the next part. Thank you so much for watching this one. This is how many times I've told this, I don't know. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.